Hi, my name is Amanda Allan, and I am a developer support engineer here at Netreo. I work with the Stackify by Netreo's product, Retrace. Today, we're going to look at how to drive efficiency with custom dashboards in Retrace. Thank you for joining. As a reminder, if you have questions during the session, there will be a live chat available, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Again, thank you so much for joining. Let's get started. So dashboards give a high-level view of applications, hosts, and monitors. Retrace collects a huge amount of data about your application's health and performance, and then has the ability to display it all customized and in one place. Today, we are in the Retrace sandbox. And just like you see here in the top left, every account comes with a pre-created dashboard called Default Dashboard. This includes useful data like alerts, web application performance, and errors and logs. This can be used as an example to assist in creating a custom dashboard. What makes this area unique from other places in Retrace is the ability, of course, to customize your view, but also to see multiple monitors without having to drill into instances all over Retrace to gather insight on your applications. Widgets are what you put inside of a dashboard. There are many views that have been filtered down to display desired data. Before we create a dashboard, I will go ahead and give you an overview of each item you see on the screen here. So in the top left, there's a drop down that will show you all the boards you've pre-created. This will allow you to add a new dashboard or widgets to the current dashboard you're on. This allows you to refresh the page, and then you can refresh each individual widget, and it won't affect the whole board. This is our export feature. You are able to create at any point a view into your dashboard at a specific time block, and you can then share that URL, and they'll only be able to really see data from that time block. At any time, you can remove that and then generate a new one. The edit mode button is going to allow you to edit the board as well as each individual widget. So you're able to drag and drop and rearrange however you see fit. As well, you're able to reconfigure widgets at any time. You can also adjust the size and the view however you like, and then you can choose to also delete that. And these settings here are what will allow you to reconfigure the board itself. Here in a minute, we'll create a dashboard together. And so the refresh time is at a range of 1 to 15 minutes. And then the permissions are what you can edit. So apart from the default dashboard, you're able to reconfigure any dashboard at any time, as well as delete it should you want to. Default dashboard is the only dashboard you're not able to delete. So each widget has its own time frame. Some widgets, you want it to refresh every 5 minutes, some every 1, depending on the widget you choose. However, if you select this, it will change the time frame, or really the date range, and it'll affect all of the widgets all at once. These are some pre-selected options, but you're also able to do custom ranges, which is a really awesome feature. And then lastly, you can make this page full screen. So let's go ahead and create a dashboard together. So you have to name your dashboard. I assume this would be a good title for this week's dashboard. You can choose the refresh time, and again, this just indicates that it's going to refresh every 1 minute, every 5 minutes, every 15 minutes. And again, that can change at any time. So I'll select 5. You can choose your layout. And then let's go ahead and establish how users are going to interact with this. So account and dashboard admin will always have access to read and write to any dashboard. However, there are roles in Retrace. Roles are created and managed in a different area in Retrace. Under settings and then roles, you're then able to select roles, change them, add them or delete them, and then they all appear in this drop down here. For the sake of the example, I will choose billing. And then I'll go ahead and choose read and write access. And all of this applies also for individual users. So you can select a user. I'll select Kyle Jackson. Many of you know Kyle. He is our lead support engineer here at Netreo, and he works with Retrace, specifically in prefix. We'll go ahead and give him read-only access. You give read-only access to people who, you don't want to mess up the dashboard. So I don't know if we can really trust Kyle, but we'll create the dashboard. Maybe he'll be able to earn that later on. So this looks a lot different, right, than the default dashboard. It allows you to now select widgets and choose what you want to use. So I'll read the just categories. So errors and logs, there are 5 different options here. And on hover, you're able to get a brief description about what each one does. So yes, errors and logs, application performance, monitoring and metrics, and then app score. So ideally, I could use all of these widgets. However, the monitoring I'm interested in displays relevant data to the end user. So when creating custom dashboards, keep in mind who is using it. Consider creating a use case for your dashboard, so you're not spending precious time combing through data that isn't relevant to those that are viewing them. It's not only displaying relevant data, but in an efficient way, so you can look at your data, configure it, look at it, and then move on. So for this example, under errors and logs, the subcategory, I'm going to choose top errors. So top errors, it's going to display all the errors occurring the most across my applications, depending on how I configure it. So I'm going to leave the title top errors. However, I could title this maybe top errors in production, and then I can change the environment down here and choose production. That way I'm querying all of my applications, but I just want all the errors in prod because maybe that, that's the most significant to me in terms of this widget. You can set the default date range that we talked about before. I'll do 7 days. So every week, maybe you can check your board and get a pulse on how your application is doing. And then I can select the max amount of errors that I want to see. Again, there are errors from your application, and in some cases, errors from your server. And so you can show errors from application, the environment, and then the host. Then you have the ability to choose your query source. So a saved query is a query that's come through the logs before, and I've saved. So then it'll show up here in my dropdown. A custom query, this is going to be an error, I'm searching for, it's never been saved, but it may be an error that is actually in my account or in my application. And if you have questions on how to query your errors, simply select this question mark here, and it'll open up the documentation associated with it. For this example, I'll select all environments and all applications and all hosts. And here you see it's displayed the way I want. I only want to see 5 errors at a time, the environment, the host, the application, and then you get the error message, the number of errors occurring, and then the last time it occurred. Keep in mind, this is our sandbox, so these errors are supposed to happen at the rate that they're happening. And then you can open up that error and get a detailed look at the stack trace of your error. And it allows you to see not only where it's occurring, but why. You get tons and tons of information about an error. we can move on to application performance. I'm going to select performance breakdown. This widget is unique because it displays a graph of application performance broken down by the type of activity within your code. So you're going to want to select just one application and maybe with different environments. And these are all different activities in your code that can be caught and then displayed. So again, I'm not going to title it performance breakdown is good enough for me. But again, you can label this anything you want. I'll go ahead and do that 7 days again because I just want to see at a week's glance how my application is doing. And then I'll keep it a filled line. Similarly, with choosing your query source, what's different about here is this APM search text. It's a, retraces log management. And so it allows you to view and search across all of your logs in one place. And it's all, you can search it right here. And again, similarly, you can follow this question mark and allow you to see documentation on best practices when querying your APM data. I'm going to go ahead and choose our example.NET Core application because I know there's a lot of traffic going there. And here it's great, on hover, you're able to kind of just see if the graph is hard to read, you can kind of see how long, a call in your application takes. So my call to the database is 0.587 seconds of this 1.663 second. How my .NET code times 0.679, a tracked function, which is a function in my code that I'm choosing to track. I've put code around and I want to ensure that I'm getting metrics on, and then any calls, external calls to the web, it's going to let me know how those time as well. Let's move on to monitoring and metrics. And then I'm going to choose active alerts. This is a bit of a different one. So it displays a graph of historical alerts by severity along with indicators for current active alerts at each severity. So I'm going to go ahead and do 7 days again, just to keep the trend. Again, you don't have to do that. Maybe I'll do 1 day. Let's just do 1 day. Yes, I want to show the chart legend. Let's go ahead and do a filled spline. And yes, I do want those points. And then, I want to see all the errors. All of the alerts across my entire account. And again, keep in mind, this is a sandbox environment. These errors are on purpose, but those severity levels go from warning to critical to outage. And a feature I did want to show on the graph is that you're able to click it and then click into a specific time frame. And that'll affect and go across all of your graph widgets, which is a really cool feature. And lastly, we will look at App Score. So App Score can be a little ambiguous with your application. If you're familiar with Retrace, you can go into your web applications and select your application. You can see an app score, right? And it can be ambiguous about what that means. If you choose to select App Score Detail, it gives you a breakdown on what is actually happening in your application and selects or suggests solutions for those problems. So optionally, you can enter your title here. It says last hour calculated, right? And so it's averaging out how your application's doing in the last hour, 4 hours, 1 day, 7 days. For this, I will do 7 days because it's pulling information from a whole week. And I feel like that average is a little, going to be a little more accurate, right, than 1 hour. Because it is all the applications and all the environments, this poll is a little heavier. So it just takes a minute to get all of that information in. And then you can see all of your applications. You should see your overall score. And then at the top, it kind of breaks down how each part of your application is doing. So app CPU, new and regressed, alerts in your application, errors and requests, so how slow those errors, whether you have errors or not, and then how slow those requests are, and then user satisfaction. And satisfaction could break down to how long a page loads for a user. Something as simple as that can bring your app score down. And so let's go ahead and I'll just show you. When you click into that, it'll tell you, well, your satisfaction score is an F because, it's based on a user satisfaction, so user requests. And then it gives you a tip, to improve this score, you need to get your pages to load faster and reduce page failures. And that breaks down, and what's really cool about it, it gives you, concrete evidence as to why your app is performing at the level it is, and it gives you a solution to that problem. So let's give a quick overview. Custom dashboards really are just meant to make the developer's life easier. They give you freedom to customize as little or as much as you need to, and then you can just move on. They give you the ability to share this data with multiple people, multiple departments, maybe in your company, without having to be concerned about who is in your account. This saves time and ultimately frees up the account owner or the developer to do things with their own time. I hope that you enjoyed this session. Please feel free to ask any questions in the comments and I would be happy to answer. Enjoy the rest of Netreo's user group get together. Have a great day.
Running.